Hello and welcome. This is TVC News at 10. We'll begin the news in Abuja, where a few hours ago, the federal government announced the ban on Twitter. And now, that move has continued to generate reactions from individuals and groups. For the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, it is time to institute a legal action against the presidency. It also condemned what it described as the illegal and unconstitutional suspension of Twitter's operations in Nigeria and called on the government of President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately rescind the suspension within 48 hours or face legal action. SERAP, in a statement by its Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, said the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria is a blatant violation of Nigerians' right to freedom of expression and access to information. Elsewhere, Amnesty International has condemned the government over the suspension of Twitter in the country. It's called on the authorities to immediately reverse the unlawful suspension and other plans to what they described as gagging the media, which undermines Nigerians' human rights. And former Senate President Bukola Saraki has also reacted to the suspension of the microblogging and social networking service Twitter in Nigeria by the federal government. Dr. Saraki kicked against the ban and called for a review of the suspension. He tweeted, quote, "No, sir, this should not be the response from the president of a nation with a vibrant youthful population for whom Twitter is part of their daily lives and a source of their income and livelihood." End quote. And Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has joined others in reacting to the indefinite suspension of Twitter operations in Nigeria. Professor Soyinka described the move as unbecoming of a democratically elected president. According to the Nobel laureate, if Buhari has a problem with the microblogging platform, he should sort it out between them personally, the way ex-US President Donald Trump did, and not rope in the right to free expression of the Nigerian citizen as collateral damage. Now, the suspension by the Nigerian government comes days after a post by President Muhammadu Buhari on the 1967 Civil War was deleted by the microblogging platform. The suspension of the social networking service was also shared on the Twitter handle of the Federal Ministry of Information, which has since generated reactions from some Nigerians on the social media platform. The Nigerian government spokesperson cited the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence as reason for the suspension. Well, let's now speak with a journalist, Tomi Bolade, who joins us live via Zoom from Lagos for more on this development. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10. Well, earlier I was watching a TEDx talk you gave in 2016 about digitization, the future of media. You either adapt or you die. Now, Twitter is one of those platforms where media, individuals, have taken as their voice to express their views. And as we have it in Nigeria today, the presidency has announced suspension of the operations of the micro-blogging site. What is your reaction?
Oh, I think it's an exercise in futility. I think the evolution of communication platforms around the world has fully gone digital, and if you are not on that digital train, really, you are living in the Stone Age. And I think that Nigerians and Nigeria as a country cannot afford to take itself back to the Stone Age. The Nigerian government can have its grouse with Twitter, but to suspend its operations in Nigeria is just an exercise in futility. There are so many ways you can even circumvent it. But I think that doing this itself is, we've seen a lot of the bad press that has come out of it for the government. It shows that the government doesn't quite have its priority right. The government is saying that it wants to be in the same category with countries like Iran, China, North Korea, Turkey, Turkmenistan, where Twitter is either restricted or limited. I don't think from an ideological point of view, those are the kind of countries that we should be aligning with. Some people have said China. China has alternatives to Twitter, by the way. And I'm not saying that China is right, but we don't even we are taking away a platform that is encouraging so many Nigerians to communicate, to talk to government, to talk to one another, and we want to deprive them of that opportunity to have that conversation. They are going to do it elsewhere. It's just a crazy thing for the government to do, because if you are attacking or if you are targeting Twitter as a platform, I wonder what you're going to do about Facebook. I wonder what you're going to do about Instagram. I wonder what you're going to do about WhatsApp, about Telegram. So there are so many of these platforms such that people will move elsewhere and they'll continue to express themselves, whether for or against what government is doing.
Indeed,
I
Mr.
think what
Bolade,
government should
because
do,
if I may quickly come in, as it is now, it's not only Twitter that has taken down the post of the president referring to the Civil War of 1967. Facebook has also deleted that post. And in a report which we'll be bringing up much later, Facebook is actually suspending former U.S. President Donald Trump's account till 2023. So this is where we are. At different times in the past, the government has spoken out about fake news, hate speech, and the fact that people just go out to use these social media platforms to churn out information that is unconfirmed, unverified, not considering the rights of people. What do you say if you put those into consideration?
Yes, I do agree that fake news is dangerous. I do agree that people use social media willy-nilly to cast aspersion, to cause sometimes cause panic. But we have laws that deal with these things. If someone says something that is not true about you, you have defamation laws that you can reference in Nigeria. I think we need to make our legal system work to protect the rights of individuals, to use these platforms and protect the rights of individuals not to be defamed, as we see every now and then on social media. But to say that social media is completely bad because some people use it the wrong way is actually going too far. I think that what the government should do is engage people, talk to people, and let people have free expression to speak on all of these platforms. But where people abuse these platforms, we have laws that address them. Let's apply the laws. Let's go to court. Let's test these things out in court. But to take us back to our days of suppression, of hounding people, or just doing outright bans as we used to do in the days of military, is just taking us back to the Stone Age. This is 2021. There's a generation of Nigerians actually who didn't experience military rule, who didn't experience that era of suppression. These people were born in the liberalized media era. You cannot tell them that they cannot express themselves in a way that they feel is comfortable. We've already seen suppression in traditional platforms like radio, TV, and to some extent print. You can't bring that to social media. It's too huge. It's too amorphous. It's too huge to bring this kind of regulation to. Already people are talking about using VPNs to bypass this kind of regulation. You're going to have that. There's technology to bypass this suspension.
All right, let's look at another angle to this. Well, in that press release by the Ministry of Information, the federal government has also directed the National Broadcasting Commission to immediately commence process of licensing all OTT, that over-the-top social media operations in Nigeria. Let's talk about the millions of people who rely on Twitter for their businesses. And the fact that just recently, Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Twitter, moved the headquarters of the organization in Africa to Ghana. And there was a whole lot of public outcry. Why not Nigeria, the giant of Africa? But this is where we are today.
Well, yeah. So I think that, Twitter is free to cite its headquarters anywhere they wish, but it's all there. And this is one of the reasons why Twitter would say, "Oh, we made the right decision by going to Ghana." You don't want to be in a country where freedom of expression is stifled. Twitter, if for anything, Twitter is all about free expression. So they would be justified now that this decision was made. But not at that, I think what we are having right now is a situation where the government seems to have undue attention, in my opinion. They are paying undue attention to Twitter. I don't think all of these things all of what the government has been saying about Twitter is as serious as they are taking it. That Twitter has an agenda against the Nigerian government or the corporate existence of Nigeria. I don't see it that way. I think that Nigerians are communicating, Nigerians are talking. I think government should listen to what Nigerians are saying, take good feedback from it, and what is wrong or misconstrued, the Nigerian government should try to explain. But to assume that people are going to take hook, line, and sinker what the government says and not push back is a bit naive in 2021, where there's a democratization of platforms on which people can speak to government. So I think that the government needs to look for a better way to go about this, instead of giving themselves bad press by doing this suspension, giving themselves even worse press by aligning with countries like North Korea, China. It's unimaginable that.
All right, Mr. Bolade.
Kind of
well, as it is, we know that from some angle also, there is a talk about the big techs trying to dictate what should be the rights and the wrong to sovereign nations across the world. And that in some quarters is actually also generating reactions. But I'm afraid we won't be able to speak on that just now. Tomi Bolade is a journalist. He's joining us from Lagos. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.